let's talk about Nina Turner running for Congress because for two reasons. Because Nina Turner really is seen as one of the people who one of the most progressive candidates that are out there. People have different opinions on this, um, and also because she's going to be replacing Marcia Fudge, and there's a Marcia Fudge, who most likely will be the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development under the Biden administration. So Nina Turner launched her bid for Congress, entering the 2021's Ohio's 11th congressional district special election because incumbent Representative Marcia Fudge was selected for HUD. She's pledging no honeymoon for Biden administration. So she's going with the Black Lives Matter, healthcare is a human right, climate crisis is existential, private prisons shouldn't exist, which I just talked about. Everyone deserves a living wage. Um, it's just a positive story in a way for most progressives. I'm actually going to be the contrarian and talk about some of the problems of Nina Turner, but I want to see what you guys are thinking about Nina Turner running right now. I think by the way, I want to caveat it first by saying that I think that it's important that she did run because she will take that seat. That will be her seat.
Yeah, yeah. I like Nina Turner. I like her. The I don't. Her what is it? Spunk or whatever. Her whole personality about things. I like Nina Turner. Really do like
I
her.
think as a country, we're finally getting to a point where, I think the Black community has been saying like forever, like, listen to Black women, right? Like, they know what they're talking about. They're smart, they're determined. And I think that we're finally maybe getting to a place where more people are willing to do that. And so I think that, having someone who is progressive, who is like, bold, who's not just going to become part of the establishment. I think there's a lot of potential for her to kind of get in. And, you were saying no one's going to come in and say, well, I'm holding you accountable, but this is someone who may actually do that. Who may
Yeah,
get in there and go, hey, guess what? Let's talk about what you have done and what you haven't done and what we're going to do now.
yeah. She was when she was doing stuff with Bernie and everybody else. She was tough, man. The way she talks to some of these commentators on these like shows or whatever, like she's tough. I want her there. I want more people like her there. You know what I mean? But,
So she's very tough. That's not that her talk is extremely tough. Her main criticisms actually have to do with either her running the Sanders campaign or
mhm.
with her time at Our Revolution. But just to give more background into Turner, she was a Cleveland City councilor from 2006 to 2008, and then she was the Ohio State Senator from 2008 until 2014. She was the nominee for Ohio Secretary of State in 2014, but lost in a general election against the incumbent, receiving about 35% of the vote. She supported Bernie Sanders in his 2016 presidential campaign and became the president of Sanders affiliated group Our Revolution in 2017. So Our Revolution is the real question, right? Our Revolution apparently had issues after she became the leader, and that they fell apart in around 2018 because of disarray in leadership. And this is actually the main criticism that we actually hear about Nina Turner, which isn't. I don't think it's not. It's a good criticism of a time period. She probably let them spend too much money on ads and not being door to door and reaching out to certain communities. So I hope that her as a leader, as a person in office, she doesn't have to deal with that kind of those are advocacy problems. Those are trying to get on the ground level of the whole movement and try to get more candidates. So I just want to make sure everybody knows the real there's multiple criticisms of her that are, I think, unfounded. Um she is a strong progressive. Like, she will say what's on her mind. And I just like to have the full story of her. Her full story is that she was part of this of our revolution.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody makes mistakes, right? Like things happen. Sometimes judgment is not perfect. It's one thing if the intention. It's all about intentions, right? Like at the end of the day, if her intentions were correct, like you can't judge people really for their mistakes, right? Like I mean, it's not like she's doing it punish people or hurt people in the process. She just did it. I may have made a mistake in judgment, you know what I mean? But other than that, I think the bottom line, her intentions were on point. So I'm not
Well,
going to hold
I
that
will
against her.
say counterpoint, just because I always like to argue the other side is, in order to be a successful leader, you have to have successfully led. And so I think that there are points in her career before that where she was successful in a leadership position. And I don't really know the story with Our Revolution. I don't know what happened. Bernie 2016 still really breaks my heart. So it's hard to, try to figure out where it all went wrong from there. But I think that, in general, our Congress, our leaders, like, we need a shake up. We need people who are going to come in and, have new ideas and to advocate, at the highest levels without trying to fit into the system. So I think maybe that's where she could, fit in and really make a difference. I don't know.
Yeah, they need to. You have to have somebody out there that's actually gonna be on. I'm using the stage as an example, but you know what I mean. Somewhere at a podium or whatever it is, and get these words out there in the public so they can start doing things. A lot of these politicians, they walk on eggshells. What they say, you know what I mean. Like, she's not going to do that. I feel like we're going to hear things that the public needs to to hear about, like Medicare for all and all the other things that she represents. And I think AOC is doing that. But we need more and more people out there doing that in order for people to actually understand what the actual meaning of trying to go in these directions are, and the fact that this country could do it if they really wanted to. But we have leaders, we got to call them out, right? So she's the type of person to call them out, and that's what we need. At the end of the day, hopefully she'll lead better. Hopefully she'll find a circle that'll help her, progress further in her career and show people the way. But she's probably still going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like I said, the intentions at the end of the day, with the person. If she's, I think, generally has a good heart, and her purpose is to help others. And that's all I've seen from her. From what I've seen, I didn't know much about her until like a couple of years back. You know what I mean? But once I started learning more about her and seeing what she was doing, I gained a huge respect for what she's about and what she represents. But yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to play her commercial for her commercial? Yes, let's just say commercial. To me, every ad is a commercial at this point.
It's VC2, right? Yeah.
I am a daughter of Cleveland. I was raised in this community by parents who worked very hard. My mother was a nurse's aide, my father a truck driver. I can relate to people who live in the 11th Congressional District from all walks of life. I am you. As a Cleveland City Councilwoman, I worked to secure housing for seniors. As an Ohio State Senator, I stood with working families and labor to maintain collective bargaining rights. I led the effort to create the Ohio Task Force on Community and Police Relations. I know that the struggle is real. I want to serve as your next Congresswoman because I believe that everyone deserves a good job, health care, and our children deserve to be educated from pre-K to college. I will go to Congress to help our community recover from the coronavirus, including helping small businesses and those who have been hardest hit. We are going to do great things together. Let's get to work. I am Nina Turner, and I'm running for Congress.
It'll also be the easiest seat to win.
Yeah.
I think she's one of the highest profile progressive candidates there is. So I think that in the end, this is her seat, it would be her seat to lose, basically. I don't see it happening. Even in Ohio.
Yep. I hope you're right. Because there are a lot of racists out there. That's the thing that kind of draws me back at the end of the day with the way things are in this country. I would never think that about half this country supports a person like Trump and his type of Yeah.
Let me jump in though, because you know, people, I hear this all the time, like half the country, half of the voters, like
Yeah.
half the people who voted, you
You're
know,
right.
voted
You're
for
right.
Trump, and that's terrible.
Yep.
But it's my hope that, you know, more than half the people in the country, including people who didn't vote, would not have wanted another 4 years of this. You know, I
Yeah.
think people are disaffected or
Mm.
whatever it is, but I guess I just have a really hard time believing that we could be in a place where like literally 50% of Americans could go, yeah, that was good stuff. Like, you know, let's do it again for 4 more years. So, and that's really one of the things that's been getting me through personally. I think all the heaviness of the pandemic right now, because it is tough when, you know, I'm working like 16-hour days and, you know, just constantly surrounded by sort of the gloom of COVID, is to think, gosh, but what if we were going through this and Trump was reelected? Like, you know, not that Biden was like my favorite, because he 100% was not my favorite, but you know, we have some hope.